Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om
Om
नमो
Namo
भगवते
Bhagavate
वासुदेवाय।
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate
भगवते
Vasudevaya.
वासुदेवाय।
Narayanam Namaskritya
Narayanam
नमस्कृत्य
Namaskritya
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
नरं
Naram
चैव
Chaiva Narottamam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
देवीं
Devim
सरस्वतीं
Saraswatim
व्यासं
Vyasam
Tato Jayam Udirayet
ततो
Tato Jayam
जयमुदीरये
Udirayat
Shinvatam Swakataha Krishna
श्रवतां
Srivatam
तां
Savakritam Krishna
Punyashravana Kirtana
Punyasravana
पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तन
Kirtana
Hridyantasto Hi Abhadrani
हृद्यम्
Pyantam
अन्तस्तुहि भद्राणि
Stavahayatani
Vidhunote Sahritsatam
विधूनोति
Virloke
सतां
Sahatas
Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu
Nastapradesu
नष्टप्रायेषु
Abhadresu
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
नित्यं
Nityam Bhagavata
भागवतसेवया
Sevaya
Bhagavate Uttama Shloke
भक्ते
Bhagavate Uttama
उत्तमश्लोके
Sloke
Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki
Bhaktir Bhavati
भक्तिर्भवत्यैष्टहि
Naistake
Krishnaya Vasudevaya
Krishnaya
कृष्णाय
देवाय
वासुदेवाय
Vasudevaya
Devaki Nandanaya Cha
देवकी
Devaki
नंदनाय च
Nandanaya
Nanda Gopakumaraya
नन्दगोपकुमाराय
Nandagopakumaraya
Govindaya Namo Namaha
गोविन्दाय
Govindaya
गोविन्दाय नमो
नमो
Namo
नमः।
नमः
Namah.
Hare Krishna. So we are in the third chapter of second canto titled The Pure Devotion Service, Change of Heart. So last week we covered a comparison between demigod worship and pure devotion service. So the conclusion is one should, whether out of material desires or not, one should approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So because now the pure devotion service is established thoroughly, it is as good as the conclusive lesson given. So Saunakadi rishis were concerned. Maybe Sutta Goswami will conclude Bhagavatam here. So they want to inspire Sutta Goswami again to speak further Bhagavatam. So that is what we're going to discuss. So they will inspire Sutta Goswami to speak further on the topics of Bhagavatam. So this is So various demigods who will fulfill various material desires was described in the first 9 verses. So these are all the power Agni. All these are here, and further again more the paths chosen by less intelligent men, because all these things are temporary. So the conclusion is, even if you have material desire, you should approach Supreme Lord. Akama sarva kamova moksha kama udaradi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. Akama means you have no material desire. Sarva kama, you have all material desires. Sarva kama. Moksha kama means you're desiring liberation. In all these three cases, no desires, all desires, or moksha desire, or becoming, getting liberated. So either of these cases, in all these three cases, it is better to perform Tivrena Bhakti Yogena, Yajita Purusham Param, to whom? To the ultimate, to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hare Krishna. So that is because why? What is the difference? We discussed this last week. What is the difference between approaching Supreme Lord for material desires versus approaching demigods? What is the benefit of approaching Supreme Lord? Anybody remembers why it is better to approach Supreme Lord to fulfill material desires?
He's our Father.
He's our Father. So Father will always give what is good for us. If you ask, He will give, but before giving, He will purify you. Make sure you are ready for it. Really. So as our well-wisher, as a father, he's not like a shopkeeper. Demigods are like shopkeepers. You pay the money, they will give you whatever you want. You give money and ask for cigarette, they'll give you. Because demigods are like shopkeepers. You have to pay the price and they will give you the goods. Supreme Lord is like Father, who will give what is good for you. He has in his back of mind your ultimate welfare. And how can one achieve bhakti? Bhakti can be achieved only in the association of devotees. Right? Yeah. So another conclusion mentioned in the last 12th verse is even great jnanis like Sanakada Rishis, they have taken to the path of devotion service. What is so big deal for demigod worshippers to take? Why is this mentioned? Because a lot of people worship demigods all their life. For example, somebody is worshipping a particular demigod, say Sai Baba or say Ganesha, all their life. And the demigod is also reciprocating and fulfilling their desires. Then why, is it not unfaithful to give up the demigod worship? One may ask like that. So to answer that, Sutta Goswami says, even great jnanis are giving up their path of liberation, like Sutta Goswami, Sukadeva Goswami, or even Chatushkumaras. So what is so big deal for demigod worshipper to give up demigod worship? That is the conclusion in the 12th verse.
Prabhuji, I have a question. So in Bangalore, there was one devotee. He used to come to temple. He will do a lot of good service. Of course, now he has progressed. But when I met him long back, he used to. He is North Indian, so he used to always say, "Sai Baba sunta hai, par Krishna nahi sunta. Main kya karu?" And indirectly, what he was telling is, whoever is helping me in my material life, I will pray to that Lord. Krishna may be Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he doesn't listen to me. Sai Baba listened to me. So when we are talking to people who have no understanding of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, who don't know who Sutta Goswami or the Shata Goswamis are, how do you try and talk to them and convince them?
Yeah, I mean, there are Bhagavad Gita verses, Name Bhakta Pranashyati. I'll take away all your sinful activities. Like Krishna is promising so very clearly. Yeah, so some of the demigods, they may appear to be giving immediate results. But based on what we read in scriptures, it's, Krishna is the ultimate benefactor. Suhridam sarvabhutanam nyatva mam santim richati. You can look at their own life. Once they chant, their life is in such harmony compared to the life before that, right? So it is personal experience. I mean, it takes those people who are addicted to other worships, it may take some additional time. But from our own personal experience and from the scriptural reading and by watching it other devotees, we can clearly see Krishna listens. Draupadi's pastime, or all the pastimes of Pandavas we can see, or even in the recent times, say Sant Tukaram, for example, right? See, Krishna is very reciprocated. So Mirabai, why would they be doing this? So if others are able to do and we are not experiencing, it means It is only we are not doing it properly, or we are not yet mature enough in our purification, right? Krishna reciprocates 100%.
Right, Prabhu. Yeah, I mean, yes, you're right. So we have to give instances and examples from the past. So that will convince them. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu.
To give, yeah. So this we discussed last week. Transcendental knowledge in relation with Supreme Lord Hari is knowledge resulting in the complete suspension of the waves and whirlpools of material modes. So the knowledge about Supreme Lord will lift one above the three modes, or basically it gives one liberation. Such knowledge is self-satisfying due to it being free from material attachment. It is self-satisfying. And being transcendental, it is approved by authorities. Who could fail to be attracted? So Krishna's pastimes, Krishna's Leelas, Gunas, Rupa, they're all transcendental. So everyone will be attracted to it. Whether you are a demigod worshipper or you are a jnani, yeah. So everyone will be attracted by it. So they glorified bhakti in the first few verses. Now, because it's like conclusive lessons, Saunika Rishis will inspire Sutta Goswami to speak further. So this is the constant theme that happens in the Bhagavatam. Every now and then, Saunika Rishis will keep inspiring Sukadeva Goswami Sutta Goswami to speak further, right? Just like if we want something from somebody, we naturally appreciate their help or praise their work, right? It's the same thing here, but this is transcendental praise, right? So let's read through this. Saunaka Uvacha.
Saunaka Uvacha.
Iti abhi vyahtam raja.
Iti
Vyahtam
raja
Nishamya Bharatar Shaba.
Bharatarshava
Kimanyat Prishtavan Bhuyo.
Bhayo
Vayasakim Rishim Kavim.
Kavim.
Yeah, please read.
Saunaka said, the son of Vyasdev, Srila Sukadev Goswami was a highly learned sage and was able to describe things in a poetic manner. What did Maharaj Parikshit again inquire from him after hearing all that he had said?
Yeah, so they're now praising Sukadeva Goswami. See, Sukadeva Goswami is such a great personality, and he could describe things in a very poetic way, very sweet way. So instead of asking, they know very well, Saunikadrishis know this whole conversation did not happen just for a few hours, it happened for a whole week. So instead of saying, did Parikshit Maharaj ask further questions? They want to really know what the questions are and what the answers that Sukadeva Goswami spoke. So instead of asking, did they ask? They're asking, it's Saunikadrishis or Saunika is directly asking, so says Saunika is asking directly, what did Maharaj Parikshit again inquire? We may not know, we may not be knowing what is the right question to ask right now. You only tell what is the question of Parikshit Maharaj, and the reason is, whatever Parikshit Maharaj asks is definitely is going to lead to a conversation about Lord Krishna because he's a pure devotee. That was his intent, right? So you may not ask all the questions, you just keep telling us. Yeah, please read.
A pure devotee of the Lord automatically develops all godly qualities, and some of prominent features of those qualities are as follows. He is kind, peaceful, truthful, equable, faultless, magnanimous, mild, clean, non-possessive, a well-wisher to all, satisfied, surrender to Krishna without hankering, simple, fixed, self-controlled, a balance eater, sane mannerly, prideless, grave, sympathetic, friendly, poetic, expert, and silent.
These are the qualities of someone like Parikshit Maharaj. Etachushrushutam vidvan
Samvedam Vidvan
sutano rahasi bhashitam
Sutano Rasi Bhasitam
kata hari kato darka
Katha
Hari Kathodaka
satamsho sadasi dhruvam.
Satamsyo
Sayo Sadasi Dhruvam.
Yeah, please read.
O learned Sutta Goswami, please continue to explain such a topic to us because we are all eager to hear. Beside that, topic which results in the discussion of the Lord Hari should certainly be discussed in the assembly of devotees.
So any topics related to Lord Hari should be discussed in the assembly of devotees. It's a lesson also, because a lot of people even today they discuss Mahabharat, but if we hear from them, we may consider, if they are not devotees, if they're not pure devotees who have faith in the personality of Lord Krishna, direct existence. If we hear from such people, we lose our faith. So he's saying the pastimes of Lord Hari should be heard within the assembly of devotees. We're all assembled here. We're all basically devotees, and in this assembly, the best thing is to discuss the pastimes of the Lord. Yeah.
Mahabharata is accepted as the fifth division of the Vedas after its first four divisions, namely Sama, Yajur, Rug, and Atharva. The less intelligent do not accept Mahabharata as a part of Vedas, but great sages and authorities accept it as a fifth division of the Vedas.
Yeah.
Therefore, literature like Mahabharata and the Puranas and similar other literatures which are full of the pastimes of the Lord are all transcendental literatures, and they should be discussed with full confidence in the society of the great devotees. The difficulty is that such a literature, when discussed by the professional men, appear to be mundane literature like histories or epics because there are so many historical facts and figures. It is said here, therefore, that such literature should be discussed in the assembly of devotees. Unless they are discussed by the devotees, such a literature cannot be relished by the higher class of men.
So that's a lesson for all of us. We should not hear from mundane people all these pastimes. Sometimes we go online and read up something here and there. That's not good for us, because that may hurt our faith. Subtly, we may not realize, but it will hurt us. So we have to be very careful in the sources we hear from. Savai Bhagavato Raja
Savai Bhagavato Raja
Pandaveyo Maharatha
Pandaveyo Maharatha
Balakridan Nakhai Kridan
Balakrida Nakai Kridan
Krishna Kridam Ya Adade.
Krishna Kridan Yadade.
Please read. Yeah. Anybody? Please read.
Maharaj Parikshit, the grandson of Pandavas, was from his very childhood a great devotee of the Lord. Even while playing with dolls, he used to worship Lord Krishna by imitating the worship of the family deity.
So they are now praising. So they first praised. They praised Sukadeva Goswami, and now they are praising Parikshit Maharaj. So they are praising Parikshit Maharaj by saying how his childhood behavior was. He was a great devotee from his childhood. And while children of that age, would be entertained by playing with, dolls, Parikshit Maharaj was, even as dolls, he would be worshipping Lord Krishna. That is to show the qualities of Parikshit Maharaj. Even in later chapters of, later cantos of Bhagavatam, there is description of Uddhava. Even to describe Uddhava's attitude or devotional attitude, Sukadeva Goswami uses a similar word. Like when Uddhava was only 5-year-old, at that time he was very much dedicated to the worship of Lord Krishna's deity form. From his very childhood. So that is how devotees are defined. Their attitude is so fixed up from a very young age, especially these devotees who are Nitya Siddhas. These are Nitya Siddhas. From their birth, they were fully committed to it. Even Prabhupada, if you have read Prabhupada Lilamrita, you would have heard Prabhupada would perform Jagannath Radhayatra at a very young age. As a 5-year-old boy, he would invite other children from his community and do Jagannath Radhayatra by building a small cart.
Yes.
And, under 7 or 8 years. So we can clearly see. So these are children born in like those who have either partially completed their bhakti in the past life or fully completed, just to help others. They come, right, to just set great example. Suchinam Srimatam Gehe, Yoga Brashtas, those who could not finish in the past life, that's one category. Or those who have finished, but to set example. Please read.
In Bhagavad Gita 6.41, it is stated that even a person who has failed in proper discharge of yoga practices is given a chance to take birth in the house of devout Brahmanas or in the house of rich men like Kshatriya kings or rich merchants. But Maharaj Parikshit was more than that because he had been a great devotee of the Lord since his previous birth. And as such, he took his birth as an imperial family of Kurus and especially that of Pandavas. The Pandavas, all being devotee of the Lord, certainly ventured family deities in the royal palace of worship. Children who appear in such families fortunately generally imitate such worship of the deities even in the way of childhood play. By the grace of the Lord Sri Krishna, who had the chance of being born in the Vaishnava family, and in our childhood we imitated the worship of the Lord Krishna by imitating our father. Our father encouraged us in all respect to observe all functions such as Rath Yatra and Dola Yatra ceremonies, and he used to spend money liberally by distributing prasad to us children and our friends. Our spiritual master, who also took his birth in Vaishnava family, got all inspiration from his great Vaishnava father, Thakur Bhaktivinoda. That is the way of all lucky Vaishnava families. The celebrated Mirabai was a staunch devotee of the Lord Krishna as a great lifter of Govardhan Hill. The life history of many such devotees almost the same because there is always symmetry between the early lives of all great devotee of the Lord. According to Jiva Goswami, Maharaj Parikshit must have read about the childhood pastimes of Lord Krishna at Vrindavan, for he used to imitate the pastimes with his young playmates. According to Sridhar Swami, Maharaj Parikshit used to imitate the worship of the family deity by elderly members. Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also confirms the viewpoint of Jiva Goswami. So, accepting either of them, Maharaj Parikshit was naturally inclined to Lord Krishna from his very childhood. He must have imitated either of the above mentioned activities, and all of them establish his great devotion from his very childhood, a symptom of Mahabhagavat. Such a Mahabhagavatas are called Nitya Siddhas, or souls liberated from the birth. But there there are also others who may not be liberated from the birth, but who develops a tendency for a devotional service by association, and they are called sadhana siddhas. There is no difference between the two in the ultimate issue, and so the conclusion is that everyone can become sadhana siddha, a devotee of the Lord, simply by association by the pure devotee. The concrete example is our great spiritual master, Sri Narad Muni. In his previous life, he was simply a boy of a maid servant. But through the association with the great devotees, he became a devotee of the Lord of his own standard, unique in the history of devotional service. Amazing. Very powerful purport.
Beautiful purport. That's why it was highlighted fully.
Yes.
Narada Muni was an example of sadhana siddha in his previous life. And Parikshit Maharaj is a Mahabhagavat.
So sadhana siddha and nitya siddha Prabhu. So sadhana siddha, most of the living entities will fall into the sadhana siddha as they continue with the bhakti. But we can never become a nitya siddha.
Yeah.
Not even next life, correct?
Nitya siddha is ever liberated. They are always liberated.
Always liberated. They will never be any other siddhas. They will be always liberated souls. Nitya siddha only.
They come with the Lord to perform pastimes like Hanumanji, Arjuna, Draupadi. They are all Nitya siddhas. Bhishma Dev, Mahajana. So Mahajanas, all these great devotees. Yamaraj. Yamaraj is a great devotee. He is eternally liberated. Vidura.
But I'm confused with the Narad Muni's example. I know Narad Muni, Prabhupada explains about his previous life, but will he never become a Nitya Siddha later on, or it will be always a sadhana?
At the end, that is, of course, once he's eternal, it's as good as eternally liberated. But in his previous life, he was a maid servant's son. So that previous life is in a very different yuga, right? It's in the of creation.
Correct.
Not yuga, it's a different
a different day of the Brahma.
A different day of Brahma, different year of Brahma. So,
right.
So, yeah.
Prabhuji, one question. So, of course, the associates come, but if we look at the demons or the other evil factors which came and helped in the past time, should we not also consider them as Nitya Siddhas? Because of them, we could understand what the Lord is, and the Lord also could teach us some lessons. So,
may not be everybody, but some of them are surely. Like Ravana, Kumbhakarna, these are all Nitya Siddhas only, right? So Jai Vijay. They're eternal associates of the Lord. Some of them, Dvivida, Gorilla, there are not everybody is pure. They are mixed. But Lord engaged because they have So because of some curse by
The four Kumaras.
they get the opportunity to get the association of the Lord, like Nalakuvera Manigriva, right? They got the opportunity. They are not Nityasiddha, they are demigods, but the fortune is that they get the association of the Lord. They made the mistake, but they got the opportunity to connect with the Lord and get liberated.
Prabhuji, the other question is now if when we look at our parampara, the Shata Goswamis and also the previous spiritual masters, they are also Nitya Siddhas because they came directly from the Goloka.
Yeah.
Okay.
Many of them. Yeah. For us, we can consider they're all Nityasiddhas.
Right.
So one may ask, if they're all Nityasiddhas, sometimes why we see they go through so much material suffering, like diseases or cancer, right? So how do we answer that? Why there is so much physical suffering? Why Lord even gives such challenges for them?
For external people, it may look like suffering, but for them, they have come here to do their duty, to reinstate, to re-establish the lost dharma. So, just sorry to give this example, but if you look at my Guru Maharaj, he is going through all these challenges, and every time when somebody asks him, okay, why you are going through all this, he says that I'm still happy. When a recent event was held in Texas, he told that I'm very happy because I'm getting association of devotees, but every day he goes through a lot of struggles, physically and mentally. So for external people, it looks like a struggle, but internally, they're all self-realized souls. They have come here to perform this act to teach us lessons.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah,
Right.
that's a very good answer. I'll add some more. Even though they are, externally suffering, the more they suffer, the more they remember Lord. You see, for example, Kunti Maharani, she had to go through so much suffering. But each of that instance only brought her closer to Krishna, and so she wants more of that. So for pure devotees, these challenges, the physical calamities or mental calamities, these act as impetus or accelerators to connect with Lord. They in fact relish that because they have nobody else but to depend on Krishna. In that they relish it. So to enhance their mood of love, right? Their flavor of love, Lord Krishna sometimes gives them those challenges. But through all those difficulties, they remain very peaceful and happy, irrespective of all the challenges. So they set a great example that others can follow. Hey, even through all the suffering, look at this conviction of this devotee, right? They're able to withstand all these challenges and still are happy and still have full faith. That's the setting good example for others. But main reason is that the suffering is given so that they unequivocally depend on Lord, 100%. They know they have no other choice, and they relish that dependence on Lord. So that is what I heard from lectures, that the suffering is an impetus. We see material positivities in our life as a positive thing in our life. But for a pure devotee, suffering is the best thing for them to really connect with the Lord. And that is what they relish, because they 100% depend on Lord in those circumstances. Recently, we were hearing Harilash Maharaj, how he was completely absorbed in Prabhupada lectures now. He said, I have a strange feeling, and I hear day and night Prabhupada's lectures. So he had that absorption through all this physical pain and suffering. So they translate that into a complete transcendental activity. You see? And that level of absorption in hearing Prabhupada, Krishna Katha is, virtually impossible in any other circumstances. Right?
Yes, bro.
In fact, it is Krishna's arrangement, We
Yes.
may, for us, we don't want, devotees or Maharaj to suffer at all. Our duty is to pray so that his suffering goes down. But Lord's arrangement is to, really that the devotee really deeply connects 100%. He just gives his life for Lord 100%.
Yeah.
It's
Yes, bro. There are a lot of examples in current modern age as well, right? And
it's so differently from each person's perspective.
yes. Amazing, bro. Hare Krishna.
Vayashakischa Bhagavan
Vaya
Shakti
Bhagavan
Bhagavan
Vasudeva Parayana
Vasudeva Parayana
Parayana
Urugaya Gunodhara
Urugaya
Urugaya
Udara
Gunodhara
Tam Shurhi Samagame.
Satam
Satam
Surhi
Sayurhi
Sagame.
Samagame.
Sukdev Goswami, the son of Vyasadeva, was also full in transcendental knowledge and was a great devotee of Lord Krishna, son of Vasudeva. So there must have been discussion of Lord Krishna, who is glorified by great philosophers and in the company of great devotees.
Because Sukadeva Goswami is a pure devotee, so there must be discussions about Lord Krishna. So they're just telling, so whatever Sukadeva Goswami will speak, it must be completely full of Krishna Katha. So please continue to recite more, even though we haven't asked all the questions. We don't know what all happened as the discussion between Parikshit. You keep telling us.
As already described, Maharaj Parikshit was a great devotee of the Lord from his very birth, and so was Sukdev Goswami. Both of them were on the same level, although it appeared that Maharaj Parikshit was a great king accustomed to royal facilities, whereas Sukdev Goswami was a typical renouncer of the world, so much so that he did not even put a cloth on his body. Superficially, Maharaj Parikshit and Sukdev Goswami might seem to be opposites, but basically they were both unalloyed pure devotees of the Lord. When such devotees are assembled together, there can be no topic save discussions of the glories of the Lord or Bhakti Yoga. In Bhagavad Gita also, when there were talks between the Lord and his devotee Arjuna, there could not be any topic other than Bhakti Yoga. However, the mundane scholars may speculate on it in their own ways.
Yeah. So when so basically whenever the topics of discussed between Parikshit Maharaj and Sukadeva Goswami, it must all be completely pure devotion service. So anything that is discussed, please share with us. Yeah. Ayur Harati Vaya Pumsham
Ayur
Jnanastam Chayanasau
Udyan Shate Yat Kshano Nita Tamashloka Vartaya. So it is now telling about
there is nothing but just our life is meant to just hear Bhagavatam and Krishna's pastimes, Rupa, Guna, Lila. Anything else is just waste of time. So next few verses will just tell about living in other ways which are just waste of time. Yeah, please read this one.
Both by rising and by setting, the sun decreases the duration of life of everyone, except one who utilizes the time by discussing topics of the all-good personality of Godhead.
The only good we can achieve in our lifetime is hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. Otherwise, our time is just wasted that day, right? So we can all look at our own life, see how much time we are giving to Krishna consciousness, whether it is chanting or any other service. So that tells whether we are utilizing our time appropriately or not. Of course, as householders, we cannot give 100%. We have our responsibilities towards family and duties. So, but whatever within our yatha shakti, right? Whatever capacity we have, we should try to utilize in taking association and hearing Krishna Katha. That will keep our faith and ultimately help us go back to Godhead.
This verse indirectly confirms the greater importance of utilizing the human form of life to realize our lost relationship with the Supreme Lord by acceleration of devotional service. Time and tide wait for no man. So the time indicated by the sunrise and the sunset will be uselessly wasted if such time is not properly utilized for realizing identification of spiritual values. Even a fraction of the duration of life wasted cannot be compensated by any amount of gold. Human life is simply awarded to a living entity, Jiva, so that he can realize his spiritual identity and his permanent source of happiness.
Human life is meant for that purpose. Please read, Mataji.
In the Bhagavad Gita 2.40, the Lord has explained such contact in the following words. Endeavors in devotional service are never baffled, nor is there failure. A slight beginning of such activities is sufficient even to deliver a person from the great ocean of material fears. As a highly potent drug injected intravenously acts at once on the whole body, the transcendental topics of the Lord injected through the ear by the pure devotee of the Lord can act very efficiently.
So, devotion service is like a medicine, highly powerful dose. So injected through our ear, it will act very efficiently. The salpam apyasa dharmasya traito mahato bhayat, right? Even a little progress we make in devotions progress can save one from the greatest danger. The greatest danger is getting a life other than human being. If you are chanting Hare Krishna, at least you will achieve human life. That is the benediction that Lord gives. Because you spent your time to chant Hare Krishna, you express that interest. So soon you should be given that opportunity again, right? Because you have utilized it for a higher purpose. So a little progress in devotional service will save from the greatest danger. Yeah, continue here.
The materialistic way of pious activities like charity is recommended in the Smriti Shastras as quoted by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura. Money given in charity to a suitable person is guaranteed bank balance in the next life. Such charity is recommended to be given to a Brahmana. If the money is given in charity to a non-Brahmana without Brahmanical qualification, the money is returned in the next life in the same proportion. If it is given in charity to a half-educated Brahmana, even then the money is returned double. If the money is given in charity to a learned and fully qualified Brahmana, the money is returned 100 and 1,000 times. And if the money is given to a Veda Paraga, one who has factually realized the path of the Vedas, it is returned by unlimited multiplication. The ultimate end of Vedic knowledge is realization of the personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Vedaischa sarvair ahameva vedyaha. In other words, a devotee of the Lord is guaranteed eternal life. A devotee's old age or disease in the present life is but an impetus to such guaranteed eternal life.
Yeah. So whom we give matters very much. So if you give to ordinary person, actually when you give to somebody, when you give some money or some charity to others, there is no loss for you. When you give somebody, the karma works such that you will get it back, either in this life or next life. But if you are helping for a good cause, a devotional cause, for example, you are helping to build a temple, or you are giving in donation to a sannyasi who is dedicated his life to Supreme Lord, that sannyasi is definitely has a very great chance to go back to Godhead very soon. When he goes back, your credit would be million times multiplied, because you have helped somebody reach their goal back to Godhead, right? And so it's like an investment, right? So when you serve pure devotee, that is the return you get. So the proportions are mentioned right here. If you give it to a qualified brahmana, it is like double. If you give to a pure devotee, it is like many-fold away the paraga, so like that, right? So it matters whom we give, and we should give. It is encouraged that we give, right? Because it has a multiple effect. So whenever we give in charity to temple, never feel I'm losing money. No, actually it is multiplied, especially if you are directly giving to temple. There is no comparison to it. Yeah, there is no, even if you give to ordinary person, it is returned in this life or next life in that quantity, minimum guaranteed. Because in this world, nothing disappears in thin air. Everything is bound by karma, right? Is that clear? So when we get the opportunity to give for a higher cause, we should feel happy because such an opportunity has arisen in your life. Taravah kim na jivanti.
Sarvah kim na jivanti.
Bhastra kim na swatantyuta.
Vastra kimna
Vastra
sasantyata
Shakadanti na mehanti.
nakadanti namehanti
Me pashavo pare.
kim grame
Ingrame pasavo pare.
Do the trees not live? Do the fellows of the blacksmith not breathe? All around us, do the beasts not eat and discharge semen?
So there is life all around us. Like trees live, for example, some trees live for thousands of years. And bellows of blacksmith, when blacksmith blows air, even the bellow is also breathing as much like human life. So is that a life worth living? Do the beasts, the animals, they all eat, and they also have intercourse. So what is all of this is available in the life forms. The only difference is that they are not utilizing their human life, or they're not utilizing their life form in the right way. What is the use of living if you have a human form, and if you are not spending your time to grow spiritually? What is the use of such a life? It's as good as a tree that is living a long life, or it's as good as a beast that is eating and discharging semen. What is the difference? So this is a rhetorical questions. Rhetorical questions means the answer is self-evident. Means you don't need to answer it. Answer is self-evident. Means the answer is such that it already answers the question itself, answers it.
The materialistic man of the modern age will argue that life or part of it is never meant for discussion of theosophical or theological arguments. Life is meant for the maximum duration of existence, for eating, drinking, sexual intercourse, making merry, and enjoying life. The modern man wants to live forever by the advancement of material science, and there are many foolish theories for prolonging life to the maximum duration. But the Srimad Bhagavatam affirms that life is not meant for so-called economic development or advancement of materialistic science, for the hedonistic philosophy of eating, mating, drinking, and merrymaking. Life is solely meant for tapasya, for purifying existence, so that one may enter into eternal life just after the end of the human form of life.
Yeah. So clearly, Srimad Bhagavatam is saying we should not live, without performing devotion service, because it's as good as like an animal life. Yeah, please read. Yeah.
The Bhagavatam says that certain trees live for hundreds and thousands of years. At Vrindavana, there is a tamarind tree, which is said to have existed since the time of Lord Krishna. In the Calcutta botanical garden, there is a banyan tree said to be older than 500 years, and there are many such trees all over the world. Swami Shankaracharya lived only 32 years, and Lord Chaitanya lived 48 years. Does it mean that the prolonged lives of the above mentioned trees are more important than Sankara and Chaitanya? Prolonged life without spiritual value is not very important.
Long life without spiritual value is useless. Yeah. Okay, so this is a different section. We can start next week. Okay, so any questions or any other discussions? Not,
Yes, Prabhu. It was a great topic today. There's a lot of varieties of sections. I think you mentioned about the why even pure devotee suffers, and then you mentioned that one is to get closer to the Lord even more, and then Lord wants to enjoy the rasa of their bhakti, because suffering enhances their bhakti even more.
their dependence, Lord relishes, and devotee also relishes that rasa actually. Devotee relishes, for example,
So Prabhu, they never suffers then? Their body doesn't suffer because they are Nitya Siddha, that's why? Or they...
there will be some pain. There will be some pain. There is no doubt about it. There will be physical suffering, but it is superseded by the spiritual happiness. Means the spiritual happiness is so much that the suffering, the physical suffering is insignificant. You all heard about Bhakti Tirtha Swami? He's a sannyasi, disciple of Prabhupada. So
in South Africa.
South Africa, yeah. So he had this but I think he lived in US only. So he had melanoma cancer. Pain was excruciating. His bones were breaking even if he moves around. That is the situation he was in, and towards his end of his life. And he was unable to move, just stuck on the bed. At some point, when Radhanath Maharaj was with him, Maharaj asked him, Maharaj, how are you feeling? So when he asked, Maharaj said, I am in so much pain, but I am so much connected with Krishna now that he said, I would not exchange my current situation for anything. I would not exchange my life for anything. Means he want to go through the suffering that he's going through right now.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. And he would not be willing. His pain is very clear. Everyone clearly sees that he's going through like multifold pain, like not extraordinary pain. But at the same time, his eyes are full of bliss. And he was saying, I will not exchange my current situation for anything.
Oh Krishna. Jai.
That clearly shows how
Yes. The level of.
really connects, our heart to Lord Krishna very strongly. And in that situation, none of this really matters.
Matters. Right. Definitely. So this is like going beyond the modes, right, Prabhuji?
Absolutely. Beyond modes and living at the lotus feet of the Lord. He was completely in complete absorption of Krishna's Leela.
But Prabhu, the suffering comes from the modes mainly, is what kind of.
Yeah.
Now, if Shuddha Bhakta or pure devotee is, we state many times that they are beyond the modes, then the who gives them suffering? It's a Lord or his external energy, or how, or this is just act?
That is, that is arrangement of the Lord for glorification of the devotee. For regular people, it is to purify our heart. Purify means, that karma is getting, so we did something in the past, so we are getting it so that we purify our heart, right? But for a great devotee, it is for the glorification of the devotee, because the devotee behaves very differently. Jesus, when he was crucified, was not worried about his pain. He was saying, let these people who are crucifying me not suffer, because they do not know what they are doing. That's what he was saying. Or Haridas Thakur, when he was being whipped, Lord Chaitanya was bearing all the pain. But he was saying, oh Lord, please don't send them to hell. He was not at all worried about his pain. He was praying for the others. So that is the mood of the devotees.
Yeah.
Basically, they are so. Prahlad Maharaj, when he was going through so much suffering, just absorbed in. He took that as an opportunity to complete 100% absorb in Lord Krishna, right? So he never felt a moment separated from Lord.
Yes, wonderful. Definitely, when those women come in our.
Yeah, through that, Lord is proving how great is my devotee Prahlad. If Prahlad Maharaj didn't go through that suffering, do we read about those stories? If Draupadi did not go through, or say Kunti did not go through that suffering, will we have, how do we gain faith in devotion service?
Yes.
Imagine, right? So they are going through all the suffering. They are like puppets in the hands of Lord. Arjuna, he got confused suddenly. He was a great devotee, but he got confused suddenly, so that we get a lesson out of it.
Yes, bro.
Maharaj says, after gaining all the kingdoms, says, I'm not ready to rule now. I'm done.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, so all confusions are for our benefit.
Yes.
Even we can see, when great devotees go through so much suffering, how their conviction is only steady, and whether it is Jaipathamara or somebody else.
Yeah, Radha Goyal Maharaj.
Yeah. You can see how they are so fixed up.
Yes, very, very fixed up.
Prabhus, Mataji, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Very,
Hare
very
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
good, Mataji.